Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Gift, but you can also call me Giftee Love. I'm going to be talking about the fact that I'm wearing the same thing I wore in my last video except with a scarf and glasses. No, I'm kidding. Today I wanted to talk about, if you're wondering why I look different, it's because I'm in my living room. Today I wanted to talk about a topic which I think I've seen come up again and again. I wanted to kind of say my 2 cents, just to kind of share my opinion on it. And I guess the topic today is social media actually that bad? Like, as bad as we say it is, and as bad as like we make it out to be. So let me get comfy. So when social media first burst into the scene back in like the 2000s, my era, people were really excited about it. It was a way of connecting and, you know, getting online and learning new things and meeting new people. And it was like, yeah, it feels weird to kind of think back to what social media was then and what it is now and what it means and how integrated into our lives it is, but there you go. But back when it burst onto the scene, I think lots of people were making kind of big sweeping statements about what social media could be, what it was. I remember at the beginning of it, there was a lot of kind of cyberbullying type films and documentaries made about it, but the actual effects it was having on us weren't studied in as much detail as they are now. So although people were making sweeping general statements about it, there wasn't kind of any kind of key research to back up any of those points. People were kind of just speculating that social media could do this, social media could do that, but it also has all these benefits, and there weren't really that many rules and regulations around social media because it was such new technology and we weren't really sure about how it would affect us. Fast forward to now, and it's literally part of everyday life. Like, so much happens on social media, so much of life and marketing and the way we hear about things and spread news and spread love and spread hate is online and through social media. So I find it really interesting to think about that transition and see how far we've come from like Bieber and MySpace to, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and things like that. Also, if you look at now, the amount of like studies and focus groups and insights and things we have now into social media are giving us concrete things that we can like assume, not even assume, is giving us concrete evidence about the effects of social media. I don't know if it's showing the effects of social media long term, because it's still a relatively new technology if you think about it, but it's showing the like effects of it like day to day, how it's affecting our daily habits, the way like our posture, our hat, like everything. It's affecting so much. And it even is affecting the way technology is evolving to accommodate the fact that most people aren't using their phones to make phone calls anymore. They're using it to go on social media. So when I guess companies are inventing and adding new tweaks to phones, you think about it, a lot of the new things that add to phone is the camera, because it can feel like the most important thing on the phone is the camera, not the fact that you need to call and text people, which is really interesting. So as time's passed, we have more studies, and the overwhelming things that have come up as to why social media is bad are bullying, especially on Twitter. There's been lots of call outs to the software developers and just Twitter in general to really crack down on hate on social media platforms, especially Twitter, because a lot of minorities are having a really shit time on there. Self-esteem, so a lot about kind of girls following people that they'll never look like, and kind of how that's having effects on self-esteem, and also feeling like you're not getting enough likes and followers and things like that. Addiction, so, you know, I am guilty of this, kind of waking up and the first thing you want to do is go on your phone and see what the world, and scroll through Twitter and Instagram. For me personally, it's like, what is the world up to? Because every time I go to sleep and wake up, something new is happening, and I'm one of those people that likes to be kept in the loop and kept up to date, so that's why I go on it. But lots of people would have various reasons why they go on it, and a lot of it is addiction, because that dopamine hit of information, something new, whatever sparkly interesting will keep you coming back, because you know every time you open your app something new is going to pop up, which is why it can get really frustrating when like you refresh and like things like when your feed isn't refreshing. Like, I've seen this before, I want something new, I want that dopamine hit again. So I think addiction is one of the things that keeps coming up in these kind of social media studies as kind of a bad side effect to social media. The influencing of behavior, so linked in a little bit with consumerism, so like it's changing the way we buy things, our buying habits, the way we interact with people, because I know like some stupid cafes and stuff would be like, no Wi-Fi password, talk to the person you came here with, all these things. And it's not a big of a deal as a lot of these places make it out to be, but it is different, the kind of meeting up with someone while you're waiting, you just go on your phone. Even when you're with someone, you're on your phone, or you want to be on your phone, like, you know, it's that kind of constant, it's that addiction of needing to constantly be on it and be aware and be kind of part of it, because it feels like if you log off for too long, you're going to miss everything and the whole world's going to change and you're just going to be out of the loop. And I think that FOMO is fear of missing out is what keeps a lot of people on the app, not necessarily the content that's on there. And I think they're all valid things and all things that I think are true and are reasons why social media is bad. And I think when people talk about social media, I think to some extent talk about specific apps, but I think there's an aspect to be spoken about regarding like social media as a whole, kind of what that has created, the ecosystem that exists within it, about how we as humans interact and develop relationships. And I think that's what is bad. It's like the actual concept of a media being the way in which you socialize, rather than specifically Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. I mean, specifically each of them have their own issues, but I think it's the wider conversation of why, how we consume media and how we use that to interact with others. However, the reason I made this video is because I think I've been watching a lot of videos about it, and I've always like watched documentaries on like cyberbullying and things like that. And I think the question I always think about is kind of, is social media actually that bad? Because I think, yes, for all the reasons I said it is, but I just wonder, is there a subset of people where for them social media actually isn't that bad? For example, I think I'm a very passive social media user, so I'm not, especially on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, I'm not a huge poster. I'm more so one that kind of absorbs the content, interacts with like my friends' content and like content that I find, memes and things like that on Twitter or whatever, but I'm not necessarily one that's like posting to get likes or like trying to go viral on Twitter or anything like that. I think I just consume. And I can't be the only person that's online that just like on there for that, the entertainment aspect and not necessarily the social aspect. And like, don't get me wrong, there's probably a large set of people that are there for that social aspect and that feel like, they're on there to make a name for themselves and to get popular and to get the likes and to get the follower count up and all these different things. But I feel like there's also a big part of the kind of the social media audience that are there just consuming content and like wants to keep up to date with things, but don't necessarily care about their social media image. I think everyone cares about their image to some extent, but I think I can't be the only one that kind of just passively takes it in. Like, I'm not like crying over the fact that my tweets don't get likes or anything like that. That's not like a big deal to me. And I know for some people as well, social media is just a stream of consciousness to share their art, to share their work, to share things that they're thinking they don't want to keep in their head. So is social media bad in that respect? Is it bad? Like, is it bad? If you're just using social media for that specifically, is social media bad then? Or is social media bad for people that use it for specific reasons, and because of that, certain things happen, like self-esteem issues, addiction and things like that? In my opinion, I feel like social media has some really, really good aspects. For example, I feel like, lots of people so I think social media has some really good things about it. For example, a lot of people have found their tribe and friends through social media. So a lot of people that feel isolated in certain parts of the world have been able to kind of find their people online and like share and laugh and kiki about things, which I think is really, really special. People have found jobs, careers, are able to showcase their work to employees and different things like that. And it's a kind of a creative way for showing themselves if they find it hard to do it in like the traditional ways of kind of presenting yourself. Also, I think with time, social media platforms have become a lot more intuitive to kind of combat this problem. So giving you the ability to like mute people, to mass unfollow, to kind of like little tools and instructions like that help you kind of customize your feed. And I think the biggest thing about social media when it comes to like your experience with it is like, don't follow dickheads. Like, I think your social media experience is largely dictated by the people you follow and like the people you interact with on there. So if you follow dickheads, or you follow these women that don't post the best things regarding self-esteem and body positivity and things like, or just things like that, or just follow dickheads, then you're gonna have probably a really shitty social media experience. So it's about really, and I think I've seen some videos talk about this, it's really about like curating your feed and following people that inspire you in lots of different ways, but also don't, like, you want to log in and feel happy. If you're logging into your Instagram and feeling sad, because a lot of people like follow people that they hate to see them, make sure, for whatever reason, if you're logging into your social media and you're not feeling happy, or whatever the feed is not promoting happiness, then why are you following the people that are on your feed? And why are you doing this to yourself? Because it can be a form of self-harm, kind of following lots of things that make you feel shit about yourself. So definitely like reconsider like how your feed is making you feel, and if it's not making you feel good things, consider curating the feed to promote positive feelings within yourself. I know it isn't that easy, but with time, like kind of go, when's the last time you went through the pages that you follow and thought, why am I following this page? Like unfollow them, just like you clean out your room every couple of weeks, clean out your following feed. If it's not serving you, then, you know, if it's not a friend or it's not a page that really inspires you, or you just enjoy their content, then why are you following that page? What is the reason? Really ask yourself. I think it will help a lot when kind of, if you're having a really bad time online on social media. But that won't solve all of it, because social media is a wild, wild west. Social media platforms is the wild, wild west. But I think curating your feed will play a big part into how much you enjoy social media, for sure. So in conclusion, this is not going to be anything groundbreaking, but in conclusion, I think your experience on social media really depends on kind of the user, so the person kind of using the social media platform, the network you're using. So are you on Facebook, are you on Instagram, and Twitter, and all three? Are you on something new or completely different? And how you consume it and why you consume it. So that obviously is not groundbreaking stuff. Your experience on social media will depend on who you are and what you're doing. Fine. But I think as much of the discourse is about social media being terrible, absolutely horrible, it's harboring all these terrible things, I think I made this video as a bit of a balance, counter argument, to kind of think, okay, but like, what part do we play in social media being bad? Are we toxic on social media? Are we following toxic people? Are we supporting toxic people? Because the more we support them, the more toxicity we're going to see on our newsfeed. So I think although the apps and companies have a big part to play in social media, because they make the apps so you don't want to leave, that is the whole purpose, is to keep your attention on the app for as long as possible. But I am still of the mindset that there has to be some element of control from your side into how you're consuming the content that you see and the type of content you're choosing to consume. And so I think there has to be a balance between these social media apps are trying to make us addicted, but also what am I doing to actively combat that myself? And how am I being a good online citizen, which I think is really, really important, because a lot of people online are shitty, but how are you being a good online citizen? So yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think social media is all bad? It should just be bad. It's terrible shit. Or do you think, like me, that like social media is bad, but there's good aspects to it, but also it has a large part to do with how you consume it and the kind of content you choose to support and like people that you view? Let me know down in the comments below. I feel like there's so much more to say on this topic. If you want me to do another video on it, or you think I missed something, or just like, I don't know. If you're a fellow passive social media consumer, please comment down below. Thank you for my 120 subscribers. It makes me so happy to see that number grow bit by bit each day. It really is encouraging. So please remember to like and subscribe and comment. Share it with your friends. Let's continue the conversation online. No hate, like always, because I'll just delete it and ignore it, so you're wasting your time. But thank you so much for supporting me and my content and joining in on this conversation. Have a lovely day. Okay, bye.